How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On The Ball. Welcome back to another review of the Premier League. We're going to go through each and every single Premier League game, react to our predictions. And as you can see, the score on the doors, Sim leads by 390 to 386. And the way the scoring works, 5 points to a correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's action, starting off at the London Stadium. West Ham 2, Liverpool 2. Sim went for 2-1 to West Ham. I went for 2-1 to Liverpool, so you could have guessed it was going to be 2-2 in the game. But I thought Liverpool, they had the lion's share of the possession, didn't they? They were asking the majority of the questions, but I felt like West Ham stuck to their game plan and kept hitting them on the counter.
It pretty much went exactly as I expected, except Liverpool obviously got a couple of goals and they were the ones dominating. Obviously, they fell behind, but they quickly turned that around, and it was quite impressive. They got themselves 2-1 in the lead. I think it was due to an own goal, and they were huffing and puffing. But again, classic Liverpool this last few weeks, just missing crucial chances at crucial moments, especially to extend the lead. And a really good late header from Antonio getting that draw in. They could have even gone to win it late at the game, but there was a crucial moment, a sticking point. I'm not sure if it was a 2-1 or 2-2, but I think it was a 2-2. Sorry, Areola gets a shove. He goes down. Referee, he has the ball in his arms. Referee waves play on. Areola thinks he's given a free kick, so he rolls the ball out. Gakpo rushes because no free kick's been given, and he's about to put it in the back of the net, and the referee blows the whistle to give the free kick. Big flashpoint in the game. A lot of people saying that's the wrong decision. Should he have allowed Gakpo to stick it in the back of the net? Probably he should have.
If he hasn't blown up for a free kick, then there's no reason why not.
Yeah, and the referee, actually, not only did he not blow up for a free kick, he waved play on like this. He said, come on, take it. And Areola misunderstood. He thought he'd given the free kick. Very similar to maybe what happened between Arsenal and Bayern Munich in that situation. Referee decides to blow up and play to the spirit of the game. So I think West Ham may be a bit lucky with that one, that they got the referee's mercy, I would say. But I think it was another classic example of Liverpool missing chances and blowing it. And at the back, West Ham on the counter-attack, with especially Jarrod Bowen, who I thought was probably their best player on the day, always a threat in behind. And they got their goals and they got the draw.
Yeah, Liverpool will be kicking themselves after, overturning a 1-0 deficit, going 2-1 up, and to let it go, with the best part, with just over 10 minutes to go. 2-2 will be a massive disappointment for them. And if they weren't already, you would probably say that is the title done and dusted for Liverpool, with both Arsenal and Man City winning this weekend. But another massive moment in this game happens when Mo Salah is about to come on. He gets into a clear altercation with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp after the game said they spoke in the dressing room and all's fine, but it didn't seem all fine, was it? Because Mo Salah, walking through the mix zone after the game, says, if I speak, there will be fire. I don't know what's happened, what's been said, but on the face of things, I think you gotta listen to your manager. If your manager keeps you on the bench up until 10 minutes to go and decides to bring you on, no matter if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, or whoever you are, Mo Salah, you gotta listen to your manager's instructions, and that's it. And that's the final word. It doesn't matter what you think or what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I do wonder what it was all about, to be honest. It was a very strange situation because Salah was ready to come on. Then Klopp seemed to come over to him to say something, and he got very annoyed with what Klopp whispered in or said to him, and started a whole altercation on the touchline. You could put two and two together and say it's probably because he was bringing him on so late. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I'm sure he's not happy with only getting 10 minutes, considering the game was level as well. So I understand his frustrations, but yeah, he should never let that ball over. I think it's probably a case of the title's been slipping away for a few weeks, and maybe that frustration's finally boiling over in that moment.
Does this situation happen, though, if Klopp isn't leaving at the end of the season? I'm not so sure. I think Salah would have a lot more respect for him.
I think it does. If the same situation happened and the title's been slipping away and he's coming on 10 minutes to go, I probably think the frustration would be the same.
I'm not so sure. With Klopp at the end of the season, does Salah know it doesn't really matter what happens with me and Klopp now because we're not together, we've got 3 more games together or something, you know what I mean? Maybe that comes into it a little bit.
I think Klopp and Salah have been through enough that I don't think that comes into it, in my opinion. I think Salah was frustrated with the situation. I think if Klopp would have done the situation but you're staying, I think the same reaction would have happened. I've seen Salah have fights with Sadio Mane as well on the touchline before because of situations. Like I just think it's more the frustration of how the title race has gone, in my opinion, over the last few weeks.
Essentially, though, Liverpool haven't been good enough, and Mo Salah himself hasn't been good enough since this second half of the season.
That's the reality, especially the last few weeks. When you miss the chances they have over the last few games, they only got themselves to blame.
Yeah. But let's move on to Wolves against Luton. It finished 2-1 to Wolves on the day at Molineux. Sim went for 2-0. I went for 1-1, and again split right in the middle at 2-1 to Wolves. Disastrous defeat again for Luton. They really need to start picking up some points desperately if they've got any ambitions of staying in this league. But I thought it was a well-deserved victory for Wolves, to be fair. They go 2-0 up, and Luton make a late rally at the end. They get a goal, but it was just a bit too little too late for them. Yeah,
they just didn't have the quality to break down Wolves, and Wolves, with the talent they had in the forward line, Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan were just causing havoc in this game. They couldn't really live with either of them. And I think at the end of the day, it was a case of Luton not having the quality in the forward line to really make those moments count for them. And they did get a late goal to, try and get back in the game, but it was too little too late. Wolves are always a side who are going to defend resolutely. They're always going to be hard to break down. And Luton really struggled, and considering Forest lost, it was a really big opportunity to climb out the relegation zone, but unfortunately they just weren't good enough to do so.
Yeah. Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 1 in the London derby at Craven Cottage. Both of us went for 2-1 to Crystal Palace, and I did feel like Crystal Palace were the better team on the day. They did create they created a similar amount of chances, but I did think Crystal Palace looked a lot better in their general play throughout the game. Fulham made a good sniff of it at the end of the first half, but I thought for the majority of the play, Palace were on top.
Yeah, and I think it was a classic case for Fulham where they were playing on the counter-attack. Palace were the ones dominating possession and making all the running. They definitely missed Eze's creativity in this game. I think with him on the pitch, I think it's a different game. Unfortunately, they just missed that last final pass a lot of the time. And with all their good possession, I think Elise missed a few sitters as well. He'll be disappointed that he didn't score on the day when there was one especially went through one-on-one and he was on his right foot and he put it well wide. He really should have scored. Mateta had a few openings as well. But Fulham made them punish them with some really good counter-attacking play. Muniz obviously got the goal, and they did have a few chances on the counter as well to seal it, and they'll be disappointed at that point. 1-0 up, they didn't go and win the game, but Palace never gave up and got a really good late equaliser with Jeff Schlupp on the edge of the area, and it's a good point for them, keeps their unbeaten run going. And Glasner is a good point at the end. Going to Fulham and Craven Cottage, never easy, so it's a good point for them. They'll be disappointed though that with their dominance they didn't win. Fulham on the other hand, not a terrible point. They'll be disappointed going 1-0 up. They couldn't keep it, but it's a point that heads them towards mid-table.
Yeah, and I think with Crystal Palace, I don't think they were as good in this game than they have been in previous weeks, and I do think that was a lot to do with Eberechi Eze being injured. I did say in the preview that if he's not playing, I think there is a possibility for them to drop points, and I think it was clear that there was a bigger lack of quality than when Eze was there in the last couple of games. Newcastle 5, Sheffield United 1 next up. So went for 4-1, so close to the 5-pointer on that one. I went for 3-0, and I actually thought Sheffield United started this game really well. They could have had more than one goal, to be fair, but they did go 1-0 up inside 5 minutes with, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name.
Asmaduvic.
Yeah, that's the one. They go 1-0 up, but I felt like as soon as Newcastle got level, there was only one team in it, and they did really well to get those 5 goals, obviously, with Isak at the heart of things.
Yeah, I thought at half-time, Sheffield United would be proud and happy with how they performed. It went in at half-time 1-1, and they actually limited Newcastle to not that many opportunities in the first half, but second half it was one-way traffic. As soon as Newcastle took the lead, it was only going to be one winner, and it was only going to be a case of how many, and they were making chance after chance that second half, and it was quite easy pickings in the end. But Sheffield United, look, it's the story of their season, conceding too many goals and not making the most of when they are on top of the games, and that's exactly what happened in this one. And they're officially relegated now after that. Yeah. So they are going to be playing in the Championship next season, no surprise. Look, they're on their way to conceding over 100 goals. They're on 97 goals conceded at the moment. That is going to.
What's the record?
I believe did Swindon concede over 100 goals? But that might have been in a 24 Prem league.
Right.
So I think in a 20-man league it might be the record, unless Derby conceded more.
This is currently the record in a 38 match season.
So there you go. So that goes to show how poor they have been, and they're only 5 points off the points record as well. So they quite literally are one of the worst teams that have ever been in the Premier League.
51 goals conceded at home alone.
Jeez, that's crazy.
That is
13 against Newcastle alone as well.
Yeah,
because they lost 8-0 last time.
I mean, they went through a run of like 4 games in a row, losing 5-0 at home or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that's always going to be unacceptable. But from Newcastle's point of view, obviously good win, keeps them a point below Man United in the race for top 6. So, well, I guess you would argue is top 5 over, because there's only a 6-point gap between United and Spurs at the moment, and Spurs have got tough games going. So I guess maybe they're not completely ruling it out.
Yeah, I don't think like within the camp they'll be ruling it out, but I do think it's probably going to be a bit of a stretch too far.
I'd like to
for them.
believe so.
Yeah, you have to believe so. Next up, Man United, Burnley, 1-1 it finished. Sim went for 1-1, so he gets a big fat 5-pointer. I went for 3-2 to Man United. This was a very up and down game, wasn't it? I felt like Man United started the game really strong, were creating good chances. Then Burnley came back into it. And this was a game with a lot of chances, but nobody could put the ball in the back of the net. And then it was right until the end of the game. Anthony takes his goal really well with 10 minutes to go. And you're thinking, oh, is this another lucky win for Manchester United? And then they give away a penalty with three minutes to go. Burnley put it away with Zeki Amdouni. And then there's another penalty shout just after that with, I can't remember which player it was, but he kind of strikes his hand when it's beside him, but he quickly puts it behind his back. What did you make out of that?
I thought Man United were very lucky in this game. Very, very lucky. I thought Burnley created the chances to win the game, in my opinion.
They also created a lot of chances, United, though.
They did, but I don't know how many of them were like great chances. I felt like the goal they got was given to them, obviously. Sanderberger giving it away to Anthony, who went through and scored. I actually thought Burnley contained them fairly well for a lot of the game.
I mean, you look at it, Man U had a 2.71 XG in the game.
Yeah, but they had 27 shots, so it mounted up. How many of those individual chances were... I don't know. I felt like, they created a lot of chances, but I thought Burnley gave as good as they got for a lot of that game.
They did. They did.
And I thought, especially, to be fair, I didn't see the second half that much. I was watching a lot of the first half. And in the first half, Burnley should have been ahead, I felt. And they had a lot of really presentable. Foster had some really good chances, and Onana had to make some really good saves. So I thought they got very lucky. And I thought they were well worth the point.
But Onana was their undoing with that. But how does they give away that penalty? Just punching, I don't know who it was, but punching him in the face.
It was carbon copy of the one right at the beginning of the season.
It's classic Onana.
Gave it away, and they were well worth the point, and they'll be disappointed they didn't really go on to win the game. But look, that point it means they're 2 points below Forest now, so they've really given themselves a chance, really have, and they are unbeaten. Not unbeaten. Well, they're unbeaten the last 3 games, but then really have picked up in terms of not losing games. They are picking up points in the moment. So, to be fair to Burnley, they've really given themselves a fighting chance here.
You've got to give credit to Company. You've got to give credit to the Burnley side as showing this kind of resilience. This is one loss now since beginning of March. So
and wow,
a lot of draws, but you got to give them credit because they were getting beaten week after week, and they've somehow got this kind of newfound resilience in the team.
And they end the season at home to Forest.
Wow,
could be incredible. The only problem with that is Forest's next game is Sheffield United.
Yeah, Forest's next game is Sheffield United, and Burnley's next 2 games are Newcastle and Tottenham.
So it could all be over by then. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll see. But you don't really have much confidence of Forest picking up points against anyone at the moment.
No, but this could be that. I think if they beat Sheffield United, that could be enough.
Yeah, and they probably will beat Sheffield. Sheffield United are terrible, aren't they? So Next up, Everton 1, Brentford 0, and this Everton run keeps on going. It's the Sean Dyche in his tracksuit. I mean, Sean Dyche said after the game the players won't let him stop wearing a tracksuit now because it's 100% record with this. 3 clean sheets in a row, I believe it is as well. So as much as, Brentford had the possession for the majority of the game and Everton were catching them on the break and stuff, I thought it was a good 3 points for Everton again.
Yeah, this one I didn't see too much of, to be honest, but obviously Sean Dyche is really... I think once the pressure has been off since they've, pulled away from the relegation zone, they've put in a few better performances, and I think especially that loss to Chelsea, they lost 6-0, and then that's been a bit of a turning point for them, because I feel like at that point they were really close to relegation zone. They just lost 6-0 to an average Chelsea side. The alarm bell started ringing. I think maybe Sean Dyche really got into them after that. And obviously they've beaten Liverpool since then, and a really big win this time. Now they're mathematically safe, so fair play to them. And that's 4 wins in their last 5 games. And a really, really big achievement from Sean Dyche to get on going this run and make sure they stay clear to safety. And really big win. I think Brentford would feel like they probably deserved at least a draw out this game, but they weren't good enough to score. And Idrissa Gueye with a second goal win, I think, in 2 games for him. So fair play to him. Good goal and good win for Everton.
Yeah, it really was. And if it wasn't for this points deduction, there'll be 6 points off mid-table against behind Wolves, I think it would be. So what do you reckon about now? I mean, we've had so many discussions about Sean Dyche and if he's the right man for Everton. I mean, he's shown massive progression in terms of points from last season to this season. You got to say he's been doing a good job. I
think he's done a good job, and to be fair, mid-table is good progression. If that's where they'd be without the points deduction. I do question long term whether they're going to be happy with him, but we'll see. He's done great. I think he'll be there next season. I think this run has really saved him, though, because I think before this run, there was a lot of chat about whether they even wanted to sack him with a lot of Everton fans. But he's turned it around. You can't argue 4 wins out of 5, so fair play to him.
Yeah. Next up, we go to Villa Park. Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 2. Sim went for 2-2, so another 5-pointer for Sim. I went for 2-1 to Everton, and I thought I was going to get that, but Villa. I went 2-1 to Villa, and I thought I was going to get that, but Conor Gallagher with an unbelievable goal with 9 minutes to go to grab a point for Chelsea. But so many talking points in this game. I thought Villa started the game really strong, got that goal, forcing an own goal from Cucurella. Then Chelsea came on strong, didn't they, in that first half? Goal against a runner play against them for 2-0 to Aston Villa with Rodgers with a really nice finish. And you're thinking, is this game slipping away from Chelsea? Everyone, I mean, if you would have asked anyone, you would have thought Aston Villa were going to go on and win that game. But Chelsea, didn't get overawed by the occasion. They came back really strong, and they probably should have won the game on the balance of play. They were the much better team in that second half. They got the 2 goals, and they probably should have had a third.
I thought they were the better team throughout, to be honest. I thought obviously Villa got a goal after 3 minutes, and it was an own goal, but obviously really well worked, and Chelsea were carved open. But after that goal, it was pretty much all Chelsea throughout the whole game. Villa did get a second against the run of play, in my opinion. Obviously Jackson thought he'd equalised, but the referee gave it on the field, but VAR ruled out for offside. It was probably the right decision because he was just straight offside, but that was a good finish. That was a warning sign. And Chelsea had lots of possession. They were looking really dangerous. They were getting in really good areas, but they just didn't have that finishing touch. And then Rodgers makes it 2. Again, I thought against the run of play. Really great goal, though, to be fair. And I think he's now 4 goals in his last 5 games. So it seems to be another one they've picked out.
January signing of the season.
Yeah, brilliant from him. And he was obviously doing really well at Bayern. They've plucked him out, and he's doing great for them. So fair play to him. It was a great goal as well. Had a lot to do, cut just inside the box and fired it low. And at 2-0, you're thinking Villa are going to go on and win this, and they're in the perfect position to do so. But I thought Chelsea didn't give up, and as soon as they got that goal, which I think they deserved in that second half through Madueke, I thought if they get 1 goal, they're going to go on and get something out of this game, because I thought they were very much the better side throughout. Villa really struggled to handle their press. I thought Caicedo and Gallagher were fantastic in their pressing situations. Winning it high up the pitch. Caicedo did some really good tackles in the centre. Villa just couldn't get out. And the difference between this game and the Bournemouth game, I felt, for Villa, because I watched both of them, was the Bournemouth game, whenever they pumped it long to Watkins. He made it stick, and he brought other players into play, and that was really a big reason why they won that Bournemouth game, because Bournemouth were doing something similar to Chelsea, but Watkins was dominating Zabriani in that game. The difference between this one is whenever they went long to Watkins, Thiago Silva had him down, locked him down, and was getting the ball before Watkins could get it. And it was just positionally, very smart positional play from Thiago Silva, making sure that those long passes weren't getting to Watkins. And it just meant Chelsea could sustain that pressure a lot simpler, a lot easier, and make sure that they didn't have that out ball. And without that out ball to Watkins, they literally had nothing. And it shows what a difference he makes to Aston Villa, especially when they're in the lead. And it's not the first time Villa have taken a 2-goal lead and let it slip this season. It's happened multiple times. And that's because when they take the lead, Emre changes his tactics. He goes a bit more pragmatic. And then they rely very heavily on the out ball to Watkins. And when it's not there, they get penned in and they become way too passive. That's what happened in this game. And obviously Chelsea did get back in it. And Gallagher got the goal, and they should have easily won it. It wasn't just the goal that got disallowed right at the last minute. Palmer had that one-on-one when Carlos makes a bad mistake. And really good save from Olsen, but Palmer really should have scored that goal. And I thought Villa completely got away with one here. They should have lost.
Yeah, I mean, those traits that you're talking about, you see very consistently in many Unai Emery sides. You've seen it with his Spanish teams. You saw it with Arsenal as well. And now you're seeing it with Aston Villa. But in terms of Chelsea, I thought Moises Caicedo probably put one of his best displays in a Chelsea shirt on the weekend. He was brilliant, back to maybe the similar levels that you saw him in a Brighton shirt. But I would say Mikhailo Mudryk, man. I mean, what did he cost? Like best part of 100 million?
Well, apparently 60 million plus like 40 in add-ons or something.
He looks like a £5 million player at the moment. I mean, he is shocking, isn't he?
He is horrific. He had a shot yesterday which went to the corner flag, and I was like, I can't believe this guy's a footballer. And they gave him an 8-year deal. It's like unbelievable. He is awful. He is terrible. This is like gotta just release him on a free at this point. He's that bad. Like, I don't see any potential in him at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any redeeming qualities. I think he's shocking.
But who I do see redeeming qualities in, I'm not sure if you agree, but Nicholas Jackson. I feel like he's got such good attributes to be a number 9 in the Premier League, but his finishing is just so poor. A bit similar, not in the same way, but similar to Darwin Núñez, where Darwin Núñez as well, he's got such good attributes to be a number 9 in the Premier League. Just he gets let down by his finishing time and time again. They are very different number 9s and different strikers, but I do feel like with both those strikers, if they can sort out that finishing, they can both have really good careers here.
Agreed. They're both still quite young, so they've got time on their sides.
Yeah,
Jackson,
I think there's 2 years in it. I think Jackson's 22, Núñez is 24.
Jackson has got so many good physical qualities. He gets himself in so many good positions, and he's hard to deal with. He's quick, he's strong, he's very, very hard to deal with. But as soon as he gets himself in a goal-scoring position, he seems to shit the bed. That's what happens a lot, and he was guilty of that again on the weekend. But what he's really great at is bringing other players into play, being a focal point. He's really good at those things, and he's still young. So I think people are being harsh on him. I think, yes, he is so frustrating when he misses all those chances, but you got to remember he's still your young striker, and if he can get those, sort himself out in front of goal, he's a real player there.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to the Sunday game, starting off at the Vitality. Bournemouth 3, Brighton 0, which carries on Brighton's horrific form. I think I saw a stat saying they've scored like 1 goal in the last 10 games or something crazy like that, if that's true. But Cliver...
That Muric own goal got the goal of the month for them, so I know that.
Well, there you go. That tells you the whole story. But Cliver carrying on his great form in the Bournemouth shirt. Sensei getting on the goal and Unal getting on the goal, and, complete deserved victory for Bournemouth, in my opinion.
Yeah, winless in 6 for Brighton. 1 win in, I think it's 1 win in 10 for them. Yeah, they're really petering out at the moment. And the problem is with Brighton, the way they play, because they're so offensive, if they're off their game, they're just very, very easy to play against. And that's exactly what happened in this game. Bournemouth was so intense, they completely pummeled them into submission, and it was so easy for them to create chances. They just stuck 2 up front, Unal and Solanke, and Brighton couldn't live with it. They just played very direct balls in behind, and Brighton had no answer. And really direct play, good attacking play from Bournemouth, and how unbelievably, if you take only results since November 1st, Bournemouth are 5th, which is unbelievable turnaround from them. And look, 48 points at the moment. Probably Europe might become a bit too stretched for them, but they could easily finish 8th. They're only 1 point behind West Ham in 8th, so unbelievable end to the season and really exciting times for them going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if they can build on what they've got for next season, you could be looking at a really good side for next season. Because you remember, it took them a while to get to grips with the way the manager wants to play and implementing his style and everything like that. But once he's implemented it, I mean, they're a match for anyone. They can give a good game to anyone in this league. And I think potentially they could challenge for 7th or 8th place next season, maybe sneak into the Conference League.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. A few smart additions, the way they're going, really, really impressive.
They got to hold on to those players like Solanke and players like that, though.
Yeah, that's the key.
Let's go to the North London derby next. Finished 3-2 to Arsenal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I went for 2-2. Sim went for 2-1 to Spurs, but it was an Arsenal victory, which I thought Spurs played fairly well throughout the game. Even being 3-0 down, I wasn't at half-time thinking, it's been a complete mismatch for a 3-0 game. It was anything but that. Arsenal got 2 goals from set pieces. Terrible defending from Spurs. Caught us on the break as well when we should have had a penalty up the other end. And we rallied in the second half to try and get the game back, but I guess it was just a bit little too late and Arsenal got the victory.
Yeah, I think from Spurs' point of view, it's a game of what ifs. What if Højbjerg doesn't put it in his own net after 50 minutes when Spurs were on top? What if Spurs got the penalty instead of it being 2-0 within 10 seconds of the penalty shout? What if Van der Ven's equaliser would have stood? All these things going against Tottenham. Romero hits the post as well at 1-0. A lot of things, a lot of fine margins going into this game. Arsenal clearly went into this game with a game plan, soak up pressure, make sure you're not giving away any easy chances to Spurs, and they're going to be vulnerable from set pieces and counter-attacks. And that's exactly what happened. Set pieces, we conceded 2. The other one was a counter-attack, and they made sure that there wasn't any easy chances, and they were very resolute at the back. Tottenham did manage to break their rearguard a few times, didn't take advantage of it. Romero having the bulk of the opportunities, and Son as well, missing a 1-on-1, which he should have really put away. But in the second half, they did at least rally. Apart from they were 3-0 down, and it looked like it could be an embarrassment, but they did rally in the second half. Got back to 3-2 with a bad mistake from Raya and the penalty late on, which was definitely a penalty on Ben Davies. And if the game went on for a bit longer, Tottenham might have been able to fashion a few more opportunities and maybe get back in the game, but it wasn't to be. I think Arsenal will probably feel like, as much as they were 3-0 up at half time, they were fortunate the game panned out in the way that it did pan out, although they would feel like the game plan did probably go to perfection as well. So they'll feel defiant in the fact that their game plan worked, but as well, they were definitely lucky on a few fine margins. From Tottenham point of view, they'll feel aggrieved that they didn't get a few decisions. They'll feel that a few decisions didn't go their way. The fine margins as well on a few things didn't go their way, where hit the post on one end and an own goal at the other and things like that. But they also can't deny that the issues that cost them have been long-standing issues and they haven't been solved. So you can't really complain when things that have always been a problem continue to be a problem and they cost you. So I think there's different ways you can look at this game, but at the end of the day, it keeps the title race alive for Arsenal, and it all but knocks Tottenham out the top 4 race. Yeah.
When you're looking at it, Spurs are on 60, Villa on 67. With 2 games in hand, so it's all in Villa's hands at the moment. And you're looking at Villa's fixtures. They've got, who do they got? They got Brighton,
Liverpool and Palace.
Yeah, so they got Brighton, Liverpool and Palace. Brighton are pretty much on the beach at the moment, so I expect them to get 3 points in that game. Liverpool, I can see them getting a point against Liverpool, and then last game against Palace is probably their hardest game of the season in a weird way.
Potentially. Look, all 3 games are tough. Brighton just on the end of a 3-0. So maybe they'll want a reaction there, but they don't seem to be bothered at the moment with anything. But they do have Europe, so who knows? Maybe Watkins picks up an injury. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen in midweek. But yeah, Villa definitely on the ascendancy. I think Tottenham though, they need to just focus on the game on Thursday. They beat Chelsea. I think they put themselves back in the conversation. If they don't get the win, then it's all over.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Nottingham Forest against Manchester City. Man City won the game by 2-0. Sim went for 3-1. I went for 4-1. And this was a strange game. Man City, had much the better of it in the first half, but then they came out for the second half, and I thought it was mainly all Forest, and Forest were quite unlucky not to really get back into the game. But Erling Haaland comes on, and Erling Haaland does what he does best, and he scores the goal, and that was game over.
I thought it was the opposite.
Do you?
Yeah, I thought Forest were the ones creating the chance in the first half, and Wood missed a few glaring ones. Murillo missed an open goal as well. And City kind of scored against the run of play. And Gvardiol gets the goal from the corner. Very lucky to go in at half-time 1-0 up, I thought, Man City. And then second half, it was the opposite. I thought City controlled it quite well, just limited Forest to little chances, and then Haaland comes on, seals the victory. And in the end, it was a comfortable win. But Forest will be very disappointed that in the first half they didn't put at least one of those.
They played very well. They played very well, Forest. They really did. And if they can take that kind of performance level into the rest of the season, the last 3 games, then they'll probably stay up.
But I think if they can beat, what do you call it, Sheffield United next week, that will be like one hand on safety, I feel, for Nottingham Forest. So, and they should be able to do it if they play like that. But at the end of the day, they're only 1 point away from safety. So as long as that's the situation, they're never going to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But who do Luton have next week? Luton have Everton. Everton now safe. Will they drop their game? We'll have to wait and see.
I did think Man City looked a bit leggy in the game. Did you not feel that? I mean, when I was saying first half, second half, Man City were nowhere near their best in any of those halves. Forest maybe were, they did well because of Man City being so leggy on the day. They didn't look anywhere near themselves.
Yeah, they could have easily been behind in the first half, so that's got to be a bit of a cause for concern. They do have Wolves at home in the next game. That could be a banana skin, because Wolves, they like playing against these kind of teams. So.
I think Forest can get something against Wolves.
Not Forest, Man City's game.
Oh, Man City, nah. I think Man City will beat Wolves. I think Wolves' season is done. I mean, they're on shocking form. I know they won on the weekend, but they're really not playing well at the moment.
They did beat them earlier in the season, though.
So they won't let them do it again.
Make sure they don't.
They won't let them do it again, don't worry.
I hope you're right.
And then star men, Sim went for Alexander Isak, 2 goals and 0 assists in a Newcastle thumping of Nottingham Forest, so he gets 10 points. And I get bloody Phil Foden, who suffered from illness in the build-up to the game and didn't play a single minute. So Sim takes a barnstorming lead into the rest of the season, 414 to 389. What was that? I get 1 point or something this week.
You only got 1 point the whole week?
I'm asking. You were the one keeping the tally the whole weekend.
Well, you got a point for City, so you got
3 points.
I got 20. 24, 25.
That's got to be the biggest difference of the whole season so far.
It's a big week, put it that way.
Massive week.
It's an insurmountable week. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it looks that way at the moment, to be fair. But we've got one prediction. We've got Chelsea against Tottenham on Thursday night. Sim has gone for 3-2. I've gone for 2-2. We all know how hard this ground is for Tottenham. I think we've won once there in the Premier League era under Pochettino. Funnily enough, Pochettino is in the other dugout this time. And I think it's going to be a really good game of football. 2 attacking sides going head to head. You're not really sure which Chelsea side or Tottenham side are going to turn up. But Spurs have been poor away from home for a while now. And I think we'll get up for it because it's a London derby and we want to right the wrongs of the North London derby. But I can't really see a winner either way. And I think Poch is going to get Chelsea bang up for this one under the lights at Stamford Bridge as well. The fans are going to be bang up for it as well. So I've gone for 2-2.
Yeah, I think both teams don't know how to defend here. I think both teams are only know one way of playing at the moment, and that's full throttle, open spaces. You saw what happened when they played City at home as well, very open at the back, but as well, we're able to create lots of chances. I do see Chelsea really hurting Spurs on the breakaway. I do see Spurs as well opening up Chelsea time and time again. I think it's going to be a very, very open game. I was just looking at the game on Sunday for Spurs, and if you take it, obviously, I don't know how good Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea are that good from set pieces, so I'm just going to hope that Spurs aren't as vulnerable, can have a bit more control and limit Chelsea as much as possible. I don't think they'll do it to that great effect because I can see Spurs conceding 2, but I'm going to go for a late winner for Spurs, so I've gone 3-2 Spurs.
Me, I'll take it. If that's the result by the end of it, I'll happily hand you the 5-pointer for a last-minute winner at Stamford Bridge. But yeah, we've got a bit of a revenge mission as well after what happened at the beginning of the season. Basically, that game ruining our whole season essentially. So yeah, that is our prediction for midweek. That is our review of the Premier League games during the weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time.